Hocus Pocus Part 2, Kids Edition, I guess.
Yep, we're going to be talking about the teenagers and the little girl.
Yep. So, first of all, I guess, in order of appearance, is Thackeray Binx. I'd say his sister Emily, but we don't know anything about her. Just that she's his little sister, he loved her, and she died.
Yes, the witches took her soul.
We don't really get much on her personality.
Yep, but
so we'll start with Thackeray Binx. So he actually has a different voice actor than an actor.
Yes,
which I found kind of weird.
But I guess they wanted to make sure that he sounded the same, so they took the voice of the actor who was doing all the lines for Binx the cat and just dubbed it over the actor's words.
Yeah. I don't get why they just didn't use the same person for both, but whatever.
It was 1993. Things were different.
I don't think it made sense back then either.
True. Actually, it would have made more sense just to use the same person.
Yes, that's my point.
But
good to know you agree with me in a roundabout way. So, but he was, well, I liked him.
I did too.
He was cool, cat or human, and his reactions, like, you'd get annoyed with the kids, and he had some nice moments with Max. It's like, you know, and his regard to his little sister, you know, watch over her because you're gonna miss it when it's gone. And he liked Dani quite a bit. She was the one who would be like carrying him around, and they were kind of cute.
She wanted to turn him into one of those useless house cats, as he called them.
Yeah.
Just get fat, eat, and get attention.
He wasn't necessarily opposed to the idea.
No.
So, you got anything to say about his personality?
Well, I do love how courageous he is. Like, we see that right off the bat. I mean, no problem going right after his little sister, who he loves very much, running into his friend in the village and being like, go tell my father, and then he just goes right after Emily. And, I mean, he sneaks into the witch's house.
And he pays a huge price for it. 300 years as a cat.
Yeah.
It's gotta suck.
And then he decides to help another group of kids.
Well, he kind of makes it his job, because he's not gonna die, so he's just gonna watch the house and make sure they never come back. And when that ultimately fails, he helps get rid of them permanently. So he's a good addition to the group because he knows more of what's going on. It's not just stories and make-believe. He knows the actual facts behind it. Because even though Allison, for example, knows a lot and very much believes in it, you know, history doesn't always remain accurate. Embellishments are made, parts are missing. He knows all of it because he lived it. So he's like the wiser voice there. So I think it fit very well. And his interactions with the rest of the group are enjoyable.
And honestly, nothing's more satisfying than seeing his soul finally free at the end of the movie.
No, it's always kind of sad. He never really got to live a life. So I wouldn't really call it satisfying. Personally, anyway.
Well, in certain ways it's satisfying.
Well, yeah, he gets to be with his sister again, but again, he lived to his teenage years, then spent 300 years as a cat, and then he died. Not exactly a fulfilling existence.
No. Watching him walk away with his sister, though, is, I'm sure to a lot of people, is a tearjerker.
Yeah, I see it more as bittersweet than satisfying.
That's actually the best word to probably describe that.
See, I have my moments. You see, audience, she admits I'm right.
I've never said you were wrong.
No, but it's always nice to hear.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, you got anything else to say for him, or shall we move on?
I think we can move on. We pretty much said everything about Binx.
Alright, well, I guess the next person we should talk about is Max.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning I wasn't a huge fan of him. I mean, I understand. I mean, he misses LA, all of his friends are there, but don't be such a sourpuss and then...
Please, like you wouldn't have been if you were in his shoes.
Yeah, but he took it out on his little sister.
Who was admittedly doing her best to annoy the ever-living shit out of him.
That's a good point, actually. Dani is actually very much a spoiled brat in the beginning.
She was being very bratty.
Okay.
Like, if she had been nice, then yes, he'd be a jerk, but she wasn't really being nice to him either.
Okay, that's touche.
So it's like, I sympathize with him more, because his new situation does kind of suck. He moved away from his life. His class kind of makes fun of him because he's not into Halloween like they are. Which is kind of asshole-ish. You don't have to be into every single holiday, and it's not his thing, fine.
Yeah.
I get it's a big thing for the town because it's Salem, but... So everyone has to like it or you're weird?
Alright, yeah. His classmates didn't have
Then
to
his shoes get stolen by some bullies.
Okay, I'm not okay with that.
And then his little sister is a complete brat to him, and his parents make him take her trick-or-treating, something he really doesn't want to do, so they can go party. So, I think he's kind of justified in his bad attitude.
Fair enough.
Nothing good has happened to him, so why should he be all sunshine and rainbows?
He shouldn't be sunshine and rainbows.
But he gets a lot of flack in the beginning for being closed-minded and a jerk. And I'm not saying he isn't being, but he does have reason to be, and people tend to say better things about Dani when she's really not a nice person either. At least not to him. I can't say to other people, but to him she was not very nice in the beginning. She was bratty and entitled and would go out of her way to embarrass him. So yeah,
She did do that.
I get why he didn't want to spend time with her. I wouldn't want to spend time with her if that's how she treated me. But he grows throughout the movie. He goes through the most growth out of any character. He becomes a nicer person, which is also proportional to how nice everybody else is being to him.
Okay,
They
that's
do
true.
get progressively nicer to him. Because, yes, Allison is kind of nice to him the whole time. She does get kind of put off by his bad attitude, but she, like him, is reacting to outside stimuli. But Dani is not very nice to him in the beginning, but she gets nicer. His parents, they don't really, but like we said in the last video, they don't really show up a lot. Binx, he starts treating him with more respect. So he gets better in his attitude, and people's attitudes towards him get better. And he does a lot. He comes up with most of the plans. Despite how annoyed he is by his sister, from the get-go, he does everything he can to save her. And I got nothing else.
What? You practically pretty much said everything from Max.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I just didn't... But you're right, his attitude is justified.
It really is.
I mean, I guess it's just because of... He's supposed to look like the bad guy because of his surroundings, because it's Salem, Massachusetts, and to them, Halloween is such a big deal.
Which, you know, I can respect, but then being like, oh, you don't like it, how dare you? It's not exactly a good attitude either.
No, especially when... I don't think anyone really took into consideration that he is an outsider. He's from the West Coast, from L.A., and...
That's a vastly different place than Salem, Massachusetts, so it's like... And plus, they're in high school. Well, like, I still liked Halloween when I was in high school. I'd still dress up. Clearly, I still do that.
But a lot of people do grow out of it by high school.
So it's really not surprising, and it's like, why are you being so rude to him about it?
Yes.
But
So the rudeness was unnecessary, and I didn't like it when he got his shoes stolen either, because sneakers are expensive.
And you kind of need shoes, you know, for walking outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer going barefoot at home, but, you know, footwear's kind of a requirement when you leave your house. So that's it for him. So who would you like to talk about next?
Well, I guess since we brought her up, let's talk about Dani.
Okay.
So, Dani is 8 years old, and from the get-go, we learn just how much of a spoiled brat she is. I mean, she, unlike Max, is really excited about Halloween, but...
And given she's a child and she can get candy and no one thinks it's weird, that's understandable.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone is just kind of charmed by her because she's cute, and that's it. It's like, she can be as much of a brat as possible, but people ignore it because she says something. It's like, oh, but she's so cute.
That's not an excuse. At least it shouldn't be.
And her attitude toward Max is, like Dragon said, it's not good. She's just as much of a brat to him when he's the one who's taking her trick-or-treating when he didn't even want to in the first place. And
she could have just been... She got what she wanted. She could have been nice about it.
I mean, it sucks that Max made her cry, but again, she was being kind of a brat, and I mean, she did embarrass him in front of Allison.
Intentionally.
And I get it.
Like, what was it she said?
Exactly?
I can't remember.
It was I do remember something about the costume that Allison was wearing. She was saying, I can never pull it off because I don't have, what are those things you call them, Max? Yapos?
And, you know, she went out of her way to say other things to Allison that she had to have known were not okay to say.
And I mean...
It would have embarrassed her brother, but she went ahead and did it anyway because she wanted to.
And I mean, I am a younger sibling, so I will say this. I know that even with older siblings, sometimes it feels like embarrassing each other is part of our job, but usually when you do it, it's an accident. I
have a brother, and I never go out of my way to embarrass him. Sometimes it does happen, but I never go out of my way to do it, and I don't, think to myself, oh, this will embarrass him a lot, let me say this to the girl he likes. No. I've never done that. That's really weird.
Yeah. And I mean, she's 8, so maybe she thinks crushes are something that can just are still funny, but still not cool.
But, like with her brother, she does get nicer as the film goes on. Although that might just be because she's so scared she doesn't have the time to think of embarrassing or bratty things to say.
Yeah, because...
I don't know, but she seems nicer, and she gets really attached to Binx, which is adorable. And she does get nicer to her brother in particular, and she does, look to him for protection.
So it is nice to see that.
So, anything else?
No, I mean, Allison really did grow to kind of care for her too from what we saw, but that's pretty much it with her and Allison.
Yeah, but, like I said, Dani, in the beginning of the movie, I don't like her. I think she's a little brat. But by the end, I like her a lot more. She doesn't bother me anymore.
And it's sad to see her crying because...
Well, yeah, it's sad to see any little kid crying regardless of their attitude.
But then Thackeray Binx thanks her and everything, and he says that he'll always be with her, and that's really cute to see.
Yeah. So, she loses her kind of cat, but she gets a better relationship with her own brother, which is always a good thing. And she doesn't get her soul taken, which is a very good thing. You don't want that to happen to you.
No. The Sanderson sisters very well could have stolen her soul, but they didn't.
Nope. So then that leaves us with Allison.
Yep. With Allison, I mean, we don't know a lot about her in the very beginning, except that she's the pretty girl in class.
And she seems to be from a well-off family, given their house.
And that Max has a crush on her, but she's not as much of a Halloween fanatic as everyone else in town, which...
I got the vibe she was. She was just less
obnoxious
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that someone's not overly obnoxious about it.
Which is, usually the normal attitude. She does, like, willingly leave her parents' gathering or party or whatever it was to go to the museum with Max and Dani, and she seems to be willing to engage with Dani, which is a nice little tidbit, because, it's not really the norm when they're right off the bat willing to interact with the younger kid they don't know.
But
she sticks with them through the whole Sanderson sister debacle.
Although I'm pretty sure she did warn Max not to light the candle.
Yeah.
But he did it anyway.
Like, of the main cast, I think she changes, like, the least.
Yeah.
She just likes Max more by the end of the film.
Mhm. Because they're doing something together.
Yeah, they're spending time together through life and death situations, and that tends to bring people together.
Yes.
Although, in the sequel book, which again we don't know much about, Max and Allison have gotten married and they have a daughter named Poppy. So, obviously that relationship only gets stronger.
Yep. Those two stuck together.
Yes. But she's just a nice girl. Like we said earlier, she's less obnoxious about the Halloween thing as opposed to her classmates. She does get put off by Max's bad attitude, but she's still nice to him. She's willing to hang out with him and then willing to stick with him when he's trying to make sure his sister does not get her soul ripped out.
Mhm. Which is nice, because she could have been just been like, nope, goodbye, I'm out of here.
Yep. Which, not that unbelievable of a reaction. And then when they think that they've killed the Sanderson sisters for good, instead of going home, she goes home with Max and Dani to just unwind because of all the stress of the night.
And
which I think is a nice little gesture, because the four of them, her, Max, Dani, and Binx, they kind of, I guess, associate each other with, like, safety at this point, given how many life and death stuff they've gone through that night.
Yeah.
So it does make sense that being together to relax would be beneficial. But it's like I said, it's just a nice little thing instead of having her go home. But this also means it's not just Max's fault that the sisters come back, and that she's there to help at the very end as well.
Like, I mean, I think it's a big obvious that Allison wouldn't be there. She wasn't with them, but that's not the point. But like Dragon just said, she probably gets the least amount of character development because she stays a nice person throughout the whole thing.
Like she doesn't really change as a person through the ordeal. She starts out as a good person who's helpful, and she ends as a good person who's helpful. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially in a single movie thing. You don't need every character to go through some kind of transformation.
Yeah. I mean,
so she's helpful. She knows her stuff. She helps Max get through the things, because Dani isn't really helpful in the planning of anything. But so that's basically it.
Yep. So that's all the kids in Hocus Pocus we could talk about. Again, we would talk about Emily, but she kind of just gets.
We see her at the beginning getting killed, and then at the end berating her brother for making her wait so long. Can't really get much from that. So
yeah,
I guess that's it for the video.
Yep. So thank you everyone for watching. Happy Halloween.
Yes. Enjoy the candy that I'm sure a majority of you will be getting. And I hope any of you who still dress up, have fun with doing that like we do. So we'll see you in our next video. I don't know when those will be up, but we'll be picking a new series of movies, books, TV shows, whatever. So we'll see what that's going to be. We have yet to decide. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.